Hey y'all, I'm Blaine Phillips.
And I'm Phillips-LeVan.
We're married, like just a minute ago, but we've been together for 14 years.
We have a teenage daughter.
Which means she's basically an adult, right?
We're also growing a business on the side together.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Through all of that, we've learned how to improve so many aspects of our lives and show up in an amazing way.
So we decided to host a podcast to share our journey with you.
It's called Let's Do Life Together, because that's just what we want to do with you.
So if you could use some tips and tricks on how to make life a little smoother,
then you're in the right place.
Come on in and let's do life.
Hi there. Welcome back. Today we are coming at you with a new episode that I really think is going to be helpful to your life. I mean, let's be honest. I think every episode we do is helpful to your life if you listen and apply it a little bit. Side note, can I just tell you how grateful I am that you are here and that you listen to us? I mean, it means so much to me. I've got friends who I adore and people who follow me on Instagram, and I get great comments on Facebook, but the special people are podcast listeners, people who listen to this. We pour our heart and soul into it. I love recording these podcasts. It's like you and me sitting down for a cup of coffee, just talking real life stories, and it's special. I don't know. When you turn me on, when you're folding the laundry or while you're driving or put me in your earbuds and slide me in your back pocket, I'm just so appreciative of it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your positive words, for your reviews. And I don't know. Podcast friends are special friends. All right. Enough of the gushing. Jason will say I'll start to cry soon. So speaking of, hey, Jason, what's up over there?
So today we're talking about lowering the bar, lowering expectations, which for a while I think probably felt counterintuitive to us or something that we definitely shouldn't do. It was all about improving, setting the bar higher and, exceeding and making progress. But there's a downside to that. So, for example, my oldest, Abby, she got to be the oldest. You have some advantages when you're the oldest. So she became school age. She was very bright, and she made good grades, and she also tried very hard, and she maintained that to this day. She's the studious type. Well, her brother came along, and he was negatively impacted by us having raised the bar because of Abby. So what that did, it was we had the expectations that, well, I guess all the kids that follow Abby should perform academically, in this case, the same way.
Should follow Abby.
And it's comes from the parents do it, put that expectation out. And with him, we actually saw, the teachers have that same expectation, and it's really not fair. So what happens is when you set that bar up, you actually don't see all the positive influence or the positive effort or anything below that bar. You only see the bar, and the only way to kind of be seen or be noticed is to meet that or exceed it. And that's really unfair. And we do that with our kids. We do that with our partners. We do that with our friends. We do it all the time.
Yeah. This is funny. The reason we chose this topic was, I know I talk about it a lot, but listen, if you're not a person who reads, start reading. If you don't want to read, listen to books on Audible. They're changing my life. And I'm so excited about it because, yes, I might have started to read in my late 30s, but don't judge. It's fine. Remember, we quit judging last episode.
Right. Go back to last week and hear all about judgments.
That's right. But I read now. And I have a goal to read a book a month. And my February book was The Green Ninja by Jim Larson.
Did you ever find out why it's called The Green Ninja?
I have no idea what it has to do with green or ninjas or anything like that. I feel like usually when you read a book, you get to some point where you uncover the title. I mean, I don't know if I skipped that page or it was an analogy lost on me. I don't know. I missed the boat on the point of the title. Nonetheless, I did not miss the boat on the point of the book. It's really good. I would totally recommend it. So it talks about a lot of things in the book, but what we're going to talk about today in raising the bar, lowering the bar, just the bar of expectations that we place on our lives and on ourselves and that others place upon us. And I want to start with an analogy that Jim uses in the book. Just kind of picture it for a second. If you're standing with me, you're standing outside and you're in your yard and there is a 4-foot privacy fence that divides you and your neighbor. Well, chances are you're taller than 4 feet. I mean, let's keep it real. You're not a child. You're an adult. You're taller than 4 feet, meaning you can see over the fence. You see what's happening in your neighbor's yard. They're having a pool party. You can pass mimosas back and forth. You need to borrow a tool, a can of gas, whatever. It's there. It's easy. You can see what's happening all around and you can pay attention and you don't miss the details of the pool party or the Sunday morning mimosas. Well, what if that fence were 8 feet tall? Unless you're, really tall, which you're not, you can't see over the fence. All you can do is maybe stand on your tippy toes and just see what you see at eye level. That's it. You can't see anything happening down below the fence. You can't see below the bar. You can just see where the fence is and above it, what's happening up there. If they get a tree cut down, you'll probably notice said tree. But if they get some new pool furniture, you're not going to notice it because you can't see it. That's the analogy that he uses in the book. And it really just, it was super impactful. I read this chapter out loud to Jason and Sienna a couple times now because of the way it impacted me and just the mindset shift that you can start to make when you have awareness about those expectations that we are imposing every day, whether we have an awareness of it or not. So that's what we wanted to dig into today, is just that bar and how we set it. Like Jason said, on ourselves, on our spouses, on our kids. This is mainly what we talk about around here is our family. And that's what we want to do, is just kind of show you about those bars and what it's doing, the impact that it's having. We constantly are looking at, I think, those people, at our spouses, at our kids, at ourselves, and we're wondering, we see what they aren't doing, what they aren't doing, what they aren't achieving.
Right. You see the gap. You don't see the progress. You don't see everything below that bar. You don't see, what's another analogy? You don't see the forest for the trees. You don't see the roots. You don't see the things below the surface. Right. You only see what's up above. You see the tip of the iceberg, whatever analogy. A great example of this,
like Sienna. Oh boy, let me tell you, it's so silly, but it frustrates me. Sienna's laundry. She can and does often do her own laundry. However, there are times that I will go and do it. Just makes more sense. Like I need to make a load or something like that because there's just 3 of us around here. And I cannot tell you the number of times I have told that child, when you put things in your hamper, can they please be washer ready? Meaning, can the breeches ends not be cuffed up? Can your clothes be right side out? Like, can you not put wet things in the hamper? Like, can you just do it? No, not a thing. And it gets so frustrating. Like, I mean, yes, she can, she's capable. Does she often? No. But I've set a bar. This is my expectation. I want everything to go into the hamper perfect. I want everything to be turned right side out. I want no cuffs. I want socks inside, like just things so it can easily be taken care of. It frustrates me when she doesn't. But you know what she is really freaking good at? Anything in the kitchen. Anything. Girlfriend makes her own breakfast, hot breakfast. She packs her lunch. She can make our dinner. She does frequently. She helps with food prep. She maxes out the kitchen and she just does. And so now that's become an expectation of mine. And I overlook how dope she is in the kitchen because she's set that bar. Like, she's there. She's so good. I know she can cook dinner. And I will be first to admit that I have overlooked that at times and not given that the attention it deserves. But meanwhile, I'm over here because I got to turn a couple of dirty socks inside out.
Right. Or you notice that she's not good at cleaning up after herself in the kitchen. And that's where you're setting a certain standard, or you're raising the bar and not appreciating or noticing, all right, well, this 13-year-old just did all these things in the kitchen. That's great for her, for kids that age, like whatever it is, for people in general.
Oh, yeah, it happens. What about you? What is something that you nitpick your kid about? Oftentimes, like, it's some bar that you've set that you believe that they should be able to do. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to do it, but what else are you missing down low that they are doing consistently that you haven't given enough attention and love to because you just keep nitpicking the other thing that you've set the bar? I do it with Jason. Oh my goodness. Jason is my partner, my number one, my ride or die. Like, we roll together like, I don't know. I was going to say peanut butter and banana, but that's not even a thing. Peanut butter and jelly? Are you jelly? Can I be peanut butter? I'd prefer almond butter. Do you like cashew butter? What are you? Anyway, we do together very well. Like, it works. But we do things differently. And Jason is a huge help. Like, there's not really Jason tasks and Blaine tasks per se. Like, he'll cook dinner and he'll do the dishes. Now, here's where we falter. We have two very different definitions of doing the dishes. Jason believes when you do the dishes, you
wash the dishes.
When I say the words, do the dishes, that means to me
that you vacuum and wipe down all the counters and, I don't know, clean the oven out. I don't know,
my goodness.
Like all the things.
Oh, ridiculous. He says what I should say is clean the kitchen. But to me, doing the dishes is doing all the dishes and then wiping off the countertops and the stove and anything like that. I don't believe the dishes are done until all of those things are through. But Jason frequently does the dishes and does not wipe it down. And I get so annoyed. Internally, I walk in and instead of seeing that he did the dishes, I don't forget. I see he did the dishes, but I don't give any value to that because my expectation, my bar is up here that you should do the dishes and wipe the counters and wipe off the stove. And if anything got on the floor, maybe you run the quick vacuum cleaner. And he didn't do those things. And I internally am like, you didn't hit the bar over there. And that's not fair. That's not fair. I'm stealing my own joy. I'm stealing his, and I'm not recognizing all the areas that he is really good in.
And I think moms do it a lot. And, the bar is have to be super mom and do all the things all the time and be perfect and, lose weight and be the PTA president and, make an income and all these things. And then you start not meeting those expectations that you set for yourself.
Yeah, so true. Moms are definitely guilty of, and I think that's society. Like, society sets bars for us at times too. I can tell you one that is personally right now, like, on me, and it's there, and I have to decide. There's this, we run a business. Jason and I run a business together that we love, and we are in the building phase of that business. It's new and it's exciting, and it's building, and that's awesome. But there's some standard of it should be faster. We're not getting there fast enough. Our business isn't growing fast enough. There's this expectation that we should be helping this many people by this time, or I should be doing this, or I should be doing that. And you get so caught up in what you're like, my business isn't growing fast enough. Oh my gosh. And I forget all the other things that are positive, that are happening. I'm just over here. I've set the bar. Here's where my business is supposed to be. It's not there. I'm failing. Look at all the things I'm not achieving. But when you step back, I can't even notice the other things that I am. Like my family's health. It has transformed transformed in the last 5 years. Not just me, not just the 50 plus pounds that I've lost, not just Jason and the weight and the strength that he's gained, but our whole family, our approach to living active and healthy and doing those things together, and that we've taught Sienna nutritious habits and all these great things that I am doing little by little that I can't see because I've raised the 8-foot fence of, no, I'm supposed to be growing this fantastic business at this super fast rate, and it gets lost.
Or we use our own experiences and set bars for others. So like with Sienna on the soccer field, for example. So I played soccer for years and years. So I unrealistically set a bar for her performance on the soccer field and don't really acknowledge that she's just out there. She's on a team. She's been playing for years. She's in shape. She's active. She can keep up. But, my bar is set for her from where I was. And I'm a different person. I was a different type of player. I was faster than she is, and that gave me different opportunities on the soccer field. Well, she doesn't have the same skills that I had, so it's not fair for me to set those expectations for her.
Yeah, that's great. And I think Jason said this before, but the real challenge comes in is lowering that bar. That's what we want to challenge you today, you and us. We're constantly working on that. And it's funny because we wouldn't have always said that. I mean, that was not always true. I'm a results-driven kind of person. I like to win. I like to do well. And I am a recovering perfectionist. And so I wouldn't have thought that you needed to lower the bar. I would have thought you just needed to work harder and perform more and reach the next rung.
Right. If you want to succeed, you've got to hustle and you've got to push yourself and you've got to optimize your whole day, and every routine has to be nailed down, and then you get in that cycle of comparisons and setting that bar, those expectations for yourself that you can't necessarily meet because it's just not right for you, and you don't acknowledge the progress you have made.
You're missing all the mimosas at the 4-foot fence. Right. We're missing all of the things that are happening behind the scenes and down low. I'm missing that because I've set the bar. So that's what we want you to do is let's lower the bar.
Right. When you lower the bar, what you're really doing is flipping that gap and that focus on the negative into the focus on the positive, which, similar to our judgment episode, when you flip the negative into positive, you're going to be happier and you're going to feel like you are doing better. So you actually might start exceeding some of these expectations without fixating on it.
It's so true. It's all about perspective. I mean, that's the truth. It's what are you looking at? If you're only looking at the bar and above, you are missing what's happening down below. And I guarantee there are great things happening down below. If I'm only focusing on the fact that Jason's dish duty doesn't look like my dish duty, I'm forgetting all of the other little things that he does so great that I don't even notice. Like, Jason is the fixer in our house. If things break, there's this little section by the coffee pot because he's the only one that drinks coffee in the house. And it's just the counter. It's just the kitchen counter. It's not fancy. But when something breaks and it needs to be repaired, anything, like I can't even, like Sienna's ring broke recently, or my necklace, the clasp on it broke. We just place things right there. We don't even say anything. We place them right by Jason's coffee pot in this little spot. And he's the fixer. He just magically makes it go back together, him and super glue and whatever he does, and then he puts it back. But I forget that that's what he does because we fixate on above the bar and how I want him to improve in this and how I want him to be super romantic and how I want him to be this or that. And he's so good at all of these other things. And We don't want to miss those things because chances are those are the things that made us fall in love with our person in the beginning. Those are the things that we are so inspired by in our kids and in ourselves. Like your kid may not be the rock star soccer player, but they may be super studious and the one that is always asked to escort new kids around school because they're kind and patient. And doesn't that matter? But if you're just focusing on what they're doing on the soccer field, you're forgetting about all the other little things that are happening below the line that makes them up who they are. And that's what's really important. It's all that glass half empty, glass half full mentality, I think.
Right. So if you find yourself doing this a lot and recognizing, and maybe now you'll start to have that awareness and you recognize, hey, I've set the bar too high. If everybody's disappointing you or not meeting your expectations, then you need to take a minute and check yourself and say, all right, let me put things back into perspective.
Oh, yeah. If you're constantly feeling disappointed, it's probably not them.
Right. So check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself. Is that what you wanted to say?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Put things in perspective. Acknowledge, all right, I'm not seeing the positive because of these expectations. And then that'll help you start to lower that bar and flip it to more positive thoughts instead of the negative. And
when you start to focus on all those little things, it's a gratitude mindset. Like, I'm so grateful that I can rely on my 13-year-old to cook dinner for us sometimes. Like, how awesome is that? I'm so grateful that I do not have to see the tax man. I don't like the tax man. I don't want to see the tax man. Jason sees the tax man. Did Jason plan an amazing date night for us this week? No, he did not. Did I want him to? Yes, I did. But did he make an appointment to go see the tax man? He did. Do I have to go? I don't. And that's amazing. But what if I was just thinking about the date that he didn't do and I would miss these things? And so you start to do that. Focus on those gratitudes. It's really hard to be a grump if you have a grateful heart and you are noticing those gratitudes that those people are doing in your life and what is really good about them.
Right. So you don't have to start with trying to reframe or lower the bar just for that like particular thing. So seeing it in the kitchen, for example. Well, if you find yourself noticing, all right, when my kid, how my kid handles their laundry or their room, instead of just trying to say, all right, well, these are the good ways they, keep their room in order or handle their laundry. Just practice gratitude in general and say, okay, well, she's good at this. Here's 5 positive things. It doesn't have to be directly related to that initial bar or that initial expectation or the subject that's triggering you to have that negative thought.
Great point. Because everybody's not nailing everything all the time. We're not all good at everything. Like, we're just not. You aren't. Give yourself some grace. If you are not slaying your business, you're not growing your business at this rapid rate, you don't have to find some business example that you are nailing. You can just find the fact that you're nailing preparing healthy meals for your family. That was me. This week, I was like, you know what? We ate at home, healthy, every day. And I didn't waste food. And I planned, and I feel proud of that. And sit in that for a minute and be proud of where you're at. It's not a 1-for-1 direct replacement for bars.
But practicing that gratitude is going to change your mind to think more of that positive way, that glass half full.
Yeah.
And another way is really to look at your circle of influence. So the friends that you've got, are they practicing gratitude as well? Are they doing the similar types of things, or are they, constantly disappointed and verbalizing that because their husband didn't do X, Y, and Z? If you hear that all the time, that's going to put more negative thoughts into your mind. So you've you might need to, you can check yourself, but you might want to check your circle of influence too, and make sure that you have positivity around you also.
Absolutely. It's hard to maintain your own positive mindset if it's being inundated with people that are negative. If you're really working on trying to find the positive in your spouse, and the people that you spend time with are just constantly berating your spouse, their spouse, anybody, and no one's meeting up to their expectation, and they can't see their hand for their nose, or their nose despite their face, or end of whatever it is. They can't see what's happening below the fence. Change the perspective. Change the people that you spend time with. Search out. Look for those little things. Look for what's happening below the bar. Where is the good? Because here's what I've noticed in just a little bit of time of implementing that. When you start looking for those things, and when you start calling attention to them, like, oh my gosh, I noticed that you repaired my necklace today. Thanks so much. I noticed this. I know whatever it is. You know what that does? It inspires us, that person, you, whatever it is, to want to do more. If you're constantly being reminded of how you're falling short, how you're not performing, how you didn't make the mark, does that inspire you? Do you want to fight harder to make the mark? No. But when you are being noticed for other things, like maybe you did fall short, you didn't make the mark, but that wasn't the focus of the conversation. It was something else. It was the positive. It was a gratitude. That inspires you to want to do better. It inspires the people around you. I know that if I want a happy marriage, it's not going to be by me pointing out all the areas that Jason is not hitting the mark on these expectations that I've put on him. It's pouring positivity into him and appreciating all the little things that he does do for me and that he is nailing. And I believe, I don't know, I haven't said this, it's sneaky psychology on you, but I think it inspires you to be better. Does it?
And it's positive reinforcement. So, we can debate about negative versus positive reinforcement and which is more effective, I think. But anytime you just bring in more good, I think you're going to feel better. And when you feel better, you have more positive actions. So you turn that feeling into actions, and you just let more good in, you put more good out. And that has to be better for everybody around.
An easy way? Well, I don't know if it's necessarily an easy way, but if the changes we talked about today are some that you want to implement, did you realize that maybe there are areas that you're setting the bar too high, whether it's on your kids, yourself, your spouse, your family, wherever it is, you've got a bar that's too high and you've missed out on things that are happening below, and you want to work to change that? Having someone do it with you, that is really helpful. So you're not all alone. So if you can think about areas that you want to improve right now, and maybe there's someone who you think probably wants to improve too, go ahead while I'm talking. Hit the little button at the top of your screen and share this episode. Send them a quick text and say, I just listened to this. Let me tell you what hit home for me. I want to work on it. Can we work on it together? Can we start to keep each other accountable? They'll listen. They'll probably have some points where they're like, oh, yeah, I wasn't noticing that he did the dishes either, because I was forgetting that he wiped the countertop. I was all hung up on the fact that he doesn't wipe the countertops. And do it together. That you're changing. That's what we're here for. We're sharing our message. I read that book. I told it to my family, and now I'm sharing it with you. And changing together is better. So we told you to hang out with like-minded people. That's how you do it. You start to help people get there. Go on the journey together. It keeps you accountable.
Right. And help people see the positive. So if you hear your friends or your kids or your spouse or whoever speaking in that negative way about how they, missed the mark that they put on themselves, it's your responsibility to help them see the positive. So we ran a race last weekend. One of our friends, we saw him at the end. He had run a half marathon, and he was complaining.
That's like 13 miles, right?
Right.
Oh, boy.
He referenced his time a few times, and there was some disappointment. And we asked what he hoped to get, like how he had done before. Well, it turned out this was his best time ever.
Yeah.
So
he's like talking about it, and he's, telling them that last mile was hard and his hip was hurting. And I get all that. And it just seemed like not a positive. He was like, it's not the time I was hoping for. And I was like, oh, what is your PR? Like, I was just, how far off are you? What's the best you've done so far? And he was like, oh, well, this was it.
So that's when we, as friends, give him that perspective of, okay, well, why don't we take a minute and acknowledge and celebrate that you just did the best you've ever done, whether you had some, other time
bar of
in mind.
expectation that you had set upon yourself. I get it. Going for a goal is important. I get it. But don't lose sight of the fact that you just ran your best time ever because you didn't hit this other mark. It's below the fence. Don't lose sight of that. And he stopped and he was like, you're right. And we celebrated him. Like, Home Slice just ran 13 miles. That was more than twice what like in a row, like without stopping. Like, I ran 5 and thought I had just entered the Olympics. Don't be crazy. And so let's celebrate that. You have your best time ever running 13 miles. Holy banana ramas. And it's all about that. So help your friends, help your kids, point it out. Let's work on lowering the bar. And there's good mimosas to be had down there. I promise. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so excited to hear what you think. Find me over on the socials. Tell me who you're partnering up with. Who did you send this episode to? And who is going to join us in lowering the bar? Until next time.